Going, everybody, I am back. Crispy is in the house, and I went on hermit mode and just spent some time, bringing in those energies, bringing in all that light, anchoring it in, and I'm raring to go, guys. I am just raring to go. I got an article here and I want to share that with you guys, but also please rock the like, subscribe and share for your girl. Alright, I would really appreciate that, guys. Also, there's a link in the description box down below where you can come and join us in the house of Galactic Jedi Soul Family. Lots and lots of information in the house. Everybody's interacting with one another, and the energy is just pristine and awesome, guys. Also, there's a link in the description box down below where you can go and purchase one of, Ishmael Perez's book, Our Cosmic Origin. Now, get the book today, because in that book is some activation light codes, guys, and blueprints. So go and get your copy today, alright? Also, he's got his website coming up soon, so I will drop that link in the description box down below when that is made available for everyone. Okay, so right now I'm going to share with you guys this article that I found very interesting, and I hope you find it interesting too. So what it is, it's the Draco Orion Empire. Alright, let's get straight into it, guys. I am so raring to go. I am just so excited to be back and doing this for you guys. Like I always say, please only take what resonates for you and use your own discernment, okay? Do some research of your own. Use your discernment and only take what resonates for you. Alright? If you resonate with the energy, wonderful. Okay? And if you don't, that's okay. Alright? So let's just dive in and let's see what we can learn from this. Alright? Okay, so having a bird-like appearance, the Carians were like gods with souls of pure energy, mighty bodies and brilliant minds. And along with the felines, they were the first beings to start populating other sectors of the universe than that of their own in the image of the architects. Alright, so arriving in an isolated and deserted sector of the universe, which we call the Milky Way, the Carians settled in the Draco Constellation and called it home for now, or at least anyway. They were the first sentient beings in this sector alongside the felines, who settled in the Lyran Constellation. By employing their deep understanding of science and engineering, they were able to tame all the planets around them, taking full advantage of all available resources in the sector. The Carians harvested and utilized energy sources and other resources sustainably, ensuring that their use of their resources didn't negatively influence the environment. As a wise race, the Carians believed everything in the first universe belonged to all. Therefore, everything was all to take care and used with care. This philosophy of owning and controlling the universe led them to delve into the science of energetic modification. The universe was theirs, and it was within their control. Therefore, nothing was stopping them from bending and manipulating it as they deemed fit. First, they manipulated the DNA of plants, creating new and mightier species, and the success of these experiments led them to look towards animals. Wow, when you think about that, with Enki and his wife and how they did a lot of experiments on creating beings, creating creatures, a lot of them that just came out deformed and everything. This is kind of what reminds me of that. That's what I found really interesting about this. So they first manipulated the DNA of plants, then they started creating new and mightier species. The success of this experiment led them towards animals. And leading them towards animals then leads them, alright, I think you get my drift. And different planets had different species to offer. And the Carians created a wide array of creatures. However, one species stood out of all their creations and became their most outstanding success and greatest failure. Deep in the middle of the swampy, abandoned planet, the Carians came across a seemingly simple species of reptiles. These reptiles looked nothing like the Carians, but the Carians quickly took a shine to them and seemed to see a lot of potential in the brutish and base species. Therefore, in a bid to push the seemingly based species to its true potential, the Carians set to work on manipulating their DNA by employing their knowledge of DNA manipulation to combine their own genetic material that they, of the reptilian wildlife, the Carians created a new life form, which they named the Siakas, or the Siakas, or Siaka. Oh, we'll call it the Siaka, alright, because like to see a car. That's how I can pronounce it. I don't want to really butcher it, so we'll call it the Siaka, alright. The Siaka turned out better than the Carians had initially dared to imagine. This species evolved quickly, gaining unique traits and sentience at a speed that was nothing short of impressive. The Carians helped the progress and evolution of this species by experimenting further, even going as far to equip them with mental and physical enhancements. Wow, imagine that. In time, the Siakas, unlike this hold on a second, I can't see that. Unlike their predecessors, were strong, resilient, intelligent, and hardy. However, they still restrained some of the aggression and violence of their predecessors as the eons rolled by. Hold on a second. I really do need some glasses, you guys. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I wonder if these letters are just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So you sort of like, you've got to really strain and really look hard at the words. Alright, so I'll keep going. However, they still retained some of the aggression and violence of their predecessors. As the eons rolled by and the Siakas grew in population and intelligence, the Carians couldn't help to further populate the universe, given their success of creating this species. They began to see the Siakas as a great force to expand Carians' civilization and secure access to other planets and resources. The Siakas were rugged and hardy, which made it easy for them to survive in extreme conditions. They were also intelligent and aggressive, which meant they could favorably interact with other sentient beings in the universe. The Carians believed that the Seacars were clever enough to learn new languages and build partnerships. So the Carians left them to evolve on their own, giving them one last message, the philosophy of architects, explaining that the universe was theirs. The sentience, the universe is ours, stood at the epicenter. Hold on guys. The universe is ours, stood at the epicenter of all teachings. The Carians gave the Seacar. The goal was to educate the Seacars on how to expand civilization. Alright, let's keep going. However, there seemed to have been a major miscommunication. When the Seacars heard the sentence, the universe is ours, they assumed that ours referred to themselves. The Seacar, hold on a second, yeah, so the universe is ours. They assumed that ours referred to themselves, the Seacar. The Carians were mighty beings and were far more powerful than the Seacar. However, they were far less aggressive, and the Seacar didn't see them as owners of the universe. Instead, they saw them as teachers and thinkers, whose age was slowly coming to an end. Therefore, when the Carians finally left their sector of the universe, they were convinced that the universe and everything within it was theirs by right. Rather than creating a race that would expand civilization, the Carians succeeded in creating an aggressive plague of brutish force and wicked intelligence, a plague that would unleash untold mayhem upon the universe. Thrust into the cold, dark universe, free from the leashes of the former masters, the Seacar were finally free. Their vision of owning the world and surpassing the creators was all that mattered to them. As the eons went by, the Seacars evolved much like we did, from primitive to civilization kingdoms and empires, only with more wars and aggression, until finally they managed to unite the whole planet under one banner. Once this happened, with this species united, it didn't take long for them to develop the technology of space travel by reverse engineering the ancient crafts of their creators. With the technology they had taken from the Carians, they left their solar system, and as soon as they arrived in a new star system, they unleashed their might. So began the rampage of the Seacars. Alright, this is so awesome. Awesome. Love this information, you guys. The first planet they invaded stood no chance. It was a massacre as they unleashed their brute force and advanced technology upon the primitive race. Planet after planet, star after star, the Seacar wreaked havoc over the universe, conquering and establishing dominance. With the swiftness of an intergalactic plague, however, soon as they came across the Draco, an mighty species who evolved without any interference of any or already evolved race, from mere dragonflies, they evolved into large, beast-breathing fire, and being able to fly with enormous wings. Wow, you guys. They were supreme power in the universe. The Carians, being an egocentric species, could not stand this. How could it be that such big, strong, fire-breathing beasts evolved on their own from a mere dragonflies? Will are now the supreme power in the universe be so benevolent, so peaceful? It was the thorn in the eyes of the Carians. By all means, they would surpass these beings and become the new, forever lasting supreme power in the galaxy. And so they began to speed up their conquest by a lot, along with making sport and gaining glory of managing to slay one of these mighty Dracos, eventually conquering a whole constellation. But that wasn't enough. Sure, the other beings had heard of the Carians, but the Dracos were still the supreme power, and thus they chose to call themselves the Draconian and the Constellation. They conquered the Draco constellation. They even went so far as to modify the DNA of the elites with that of the Dracos, creating the Alpha Draconians, making them even bigger, more muscular, and have wings, being able to fly, causing confusion amongst the universe. Wow. This is amazing. Amazing article, you guys. Alright, just keep going. Alright. So, but their plan worked soon. The Draco and Draconians became one in the eyes of the universe, and even more so since the Dracos themselves got so advanced that they spiritually developed so much they were able to ascend from this physical realm into a non-physical one. Now the Dracos, formerly known as the Carians, were the supreme power in the universe. All that was left was to take all of it. The Draconians initially had a wide appetite for blood. Their early campaigns were filled with mass genocides and reckless destruction. Their attacks were so terrible that they destroyed and decimated their conquered planets. It didn't take long for them to realize that this wasn't the way to own the universe. Their vision was to conquer and possess the universe, not destroy it. Therefore, they changed their tactics, offering their victims a chance to serve as slaves or die in fertile conquest. Many races were smart enough to take a deal offered by the superior beings whose technology was light years ahead of theirs. However, from time to time, the Draconians ran into some species that absolutely refused to bend the knee. Naturally, these species were wiped out. The Draconians continued their policy of enslavement for centuries. However, their empire was threatened by rebellions. Conquered planets rose against them. Slaves band together and rebelled, forcing the Draconians to spend time and resources on curing and riots, rather than expanding other star systems and constellations. Their setbacks kept the Draconians stuck in their constellation section for decades until they finally found a solution. Borrowing a leaf from the book of their creators, the Draconians delved into the world of DNA manipulation. However, rather than improve the local species as the Carians did, the Draconians created hybrids. These hybrids possessed the ability to transform their physical features and look exactly like members of the local species. They were draconians that could look, act, talk, and behave like a species they wanted to conquer. These hybrids were sent into the midst of the local species to infiltrate their society and conquer from within. It was game changer. By sending infiltrators into the midst of their enemies, the Draconians were able to take over planets with as little damage as possible. Their enemies ignorantly lost control of their economy, society, religion, and identity. The final blow was always the loss of their freedom. At this point, the local species was to weaken and conquer, to fight back or raise any meaningful rebellion. Oh, wow. Your societal laws and social contracts that they had surrendered to were the very system that kept them malnourished, poor, caged, and docile. With the new system of infiltration and conquer from within, rebellion within the Draconian Empire became a thing of the past. Their victims didn't know they were enslaved. Those who knew were treated as crazy, alarmist, and anarchist. Oh, they call it anarchist. In the rare case that the secret was revealed and people began to rally around the truth, the Draconians destroyed the agitators before they became strong enough to start a rebellion. Free from costly business of repressing rebellions, the Draconians could focus solely on expansion. The Draconians' further expansion campaigns were marked by improved technology, enhanced governance system, sophisticated communication networks, and lucrative trade. Within a matter of decades, the Draconians had a web of spies, allies, and merchants that stretched across the entire universe. Finally, they knew the universe. All they needed to do was take it. Wow. They continued their infiltration tactics of sending their hybrids to the planet and manipulating sentient species into surrendering their freedom and power to them. This infiltration sometimes involved trading information and technology. Therefore, it can be said that the Draconians played a role in the evolution of many intelligent life forms in the universe. Their hybrids used new technology to gain wealth and power within societies. They also bred with the local species and introduced new genetic material into their gene pool of locals, leading to further evolution within the local species. The Draconians were on the path of taking over the world, and it seemed nothing could stand in their way. And for a while, no race could stand against their superior might and intellect. Finally, however, their unbridled expansion ended when they arrived at the Lyran star constellation. Oh, here we go. Right. The first species of sentient beings that the Draconians met in the constellations were the Lyrans, an intelligent but peaceful people. The The Lyrans were the perfect targets for the Draconians. Within a short while, the Draconians had established a strong diplomatic ties with the Lyrans. The process of infiltrating this society was well on the way, and the subjugated of the Lyrans was in view. Things were going perfectly well until the Arcturians began to advise the Lyrans against the Draconians. The Arcturians were inhabitants of the planet in the Arcturian star system, within the Bootes of Constellation. Unlike the Lyrans and the Arcturians could see the Draconians for what they were: devious, manipulative, aggressive, and bloodthirsty conquerors. The Arcturians told the Lyrans the following. So Arcturian, Owen Val. Okay. So I'm not even going to read that because that to me is in another language that I cannot read to you guys. I'm so sorry. So I'm going to read it to you in English. Translation. You and your people are advised by the Arcturian Council not to trust these reptiles. So be it. Amen. Their history shows violence, deceit, and you and your people not to trust. Mark our words. May it be so. Amen. That was a message to the Lyrans from the Arcturians. Unfortunately, the Lyrans were far too blinded by the gifts and technologies of the Draconians to heed the warning of the Lyrans. As a result, only a tiny percentage of the Lyran population rose against the Draconians. However, this small percentage was easily silenced. And hang on, I'm just going to scroll back up in a second because I've got to check something first. Yep, that was a message from the Arcturians here. Okay, just as I thought. I just wanted to make sure I was getting it right. Alright. And that was that message. And the Lyran's response in English to what I just finished reading. Nonsense. We the Lyran people believe that there is good in everyone, and so there will be good in them. We will show them our love and kindness and teach them the meaning of peace and love. Arcturian's response and closing. So be it then. Do not say that we the Arcturians did not warn you. May you bear the consequences, because the Arcturians will not be here to help you. Wow. Alright. The Draconians slowly infiltrated the Lyrans from the dark, whilst acting like a good, willing race, interested in trade and diplomacy, to finally hit the blow when the Lyrans least expected it. The Lyrans were thoroughly subdued when the Draconians attacked. Rather than watch as the rebels were slaughtered, most Lyrans sided with the rebels and fought against the Draconians. The situation devolved rapidly, and the Draconians found themselves fighting a war rather than conquering a rebellion. It had been a while since the Draconians fought against an entire constellation. However, the Lyrans were a naive and young species. They lacked the sophistication and technology or technological advancement that the Draconians possessed. Therefore, their struggle against the Draconians was fertile. Even as they fought, they fought their most and did their best. The enemy constantly infiltrated their ranks. It was only a matter of time before they were defeated. All the planets inhabited by the Lyrans were defeated, and their population was reduced to a few thousand. With the Lyrans defeated, the rest of the Lyran Constellation was bound to fall under Draconian rules. The Draconian scourge spread like wildfire through the Lyran Constellation and didn't stop until it reached the star Vega. In Vega, the Draconians met the Felines, an ancient race with far superior technology and intelligence. The Felines stood against the Draconians and pushed back their hordes, and for the first time in history, the Draconians were stomped. The Felines' defences were too strong, and the Draconians realised they were wasting their effort on a battle they couldn't win. Therefore, rather than continuing a fertile campaign in the Lyran Constellation, they turned their eyes to the Orion Constellation. This decision to cease all expansion efforts in the Lyran Constellation marked the end of the Draconian Lyran War. The Felines weren't aggressive, expansionist, and had no intention of destroying the Draconians. As long as the Draconians didn't attack them, the Felines were fine with having Draconians as the unfortunate neighbours. Kind of sounds like, when you get a neighbour that moves in next door to you, sort of like on edge because you don't really know what they're like until you get to know them, right? A little bit like that. I just thought I'd mention that one. Right, we'll keep going. So the conquest of the Orion Constellation was swift and easy. The Draconians infiltrated the planet with hybrids and slowly took over their society. With the defeat of the Orion Constellation, the Draco Orion Empire was established. Now the largest empire in the universe, the Draconians should have satisfied. However, their urge to expansion was insatiable. Gaining control of the Orion Constellation embodied them to spread even further. Once again, they were unstoppable. Planet after planet, star after star fell under the power and might of the Draco Orion Empire. However, at the height of their power, the Draconians came across yet another race that stood staunchly against them and forced them to falter. And these are called the Pleiadians. Right, it's getting interesting. Actually, it's got interesting through the whole article. The Draconians initially viewed the Pleiadians like every other race they had conquered in the past. The Pleiadians were sentient beings with high intelligence and sophisticated technology, but were not as advanced as the Draconians. They also seemed to be agreeable and welcoming and spiritual creatures. Therefore, the Draconians believed infiltrating the Pleiadian society would be easy, like taking candy from a baby. However, they were in for a terrible surprise. The Draconians' plan failed from its very first stage due to a terrible miscommunication during the process of building diplomatic ties with the Pleiadians. The the Draconians' process of infiltration was jeopardized even before it started. As soon as the Pleiadians began to interact with the Draconians, they began to despise them. Their hatred for the Draconians made Draconian infiltration impossible. With their plans for infiltration thwarted, the Draconians abandoned their strategy of conquering from within. Instead, they unleashed the full might of their empire upon the seemingly weak Pleiadians. The Pleiadians didn't stand a chance. Faced with the might of an advanced empire, they were forced to flee back to their home star system. The Draconians pursued their new enemies with glee. However, they paused their pursuit when they realized that the Pleiadians were flying to the Lyran Constellation. Only then did the Draconians realize why the Pleiadians had seen through their ruse. The Pleiadians were the cousins of the Lyrans. Therefore, they shared the same constellation, home constellation. The Draconians had not forgotten their defeat in the Lyran Constellation. However, they couldn't afford to retreat again. They were too proud and believed their technology had advanced over the years, making them the superiors of their old enemies. Alright, the second Draco-Lyra war ensued, and the Draconians unleashed all their power and might upon the few independent planets in the Lyra star system. This war was started between the Draco-Orion Empire and the first independent planet of the Lyran Constellation. Soon became an intergalactic affair. Creatures from other star systems and galaxies entered into the fray. Different species entered into the fight on both sides. Some races cast their lot and their empire's might, while others decided to fight on the side of their ambitious and relentless Lyrans. As the war spread in scope, so did the casualty and destruction increase. It was a terrible affair with losses on both sides and no signs of a clear winner. However, in time, the might, scale and coordination of the Draco-Orion Empire proved changed with the entrance of the superior beings from distant galaxies such as the Andromedans. Oh, here we go. Andromedans. Woo! The Draconians soon found themselves battling against powers they hadn't dared to imagine. Their scientists struggled to keep up with the changing tides, developing new technology and testing them on the battlefield in a desperate effort to stay in the fight. Things got worse for the Draconians when Alright, I'm just going to keep going. So I'm going to call them the Sinnohs. Alright? I'm not going to pronounce the whole name because it'll just get tongue twisted and I will really butcher it. So the Sinnohs, I'm going to call them. The Sinnohs were a race of warriors who found peace boring. Oh my goodness. Having the same interests as the Draconians. Therefore, when the Draconians offered eternal conquest and endless expansion, the Sinnohs found the Draconians to be more natural allies. They aligned themselves with the Draconians and made the Orion Empire truly invincible. With the Cynos on their side, nothing could stand in the way of the Draconians, not even their old nemesis, the Felines. While the Draco Orion Empire seemed invincible to external attacks, the internal workings of this great empire began to crumble. Draconian society was organized around the strict hierarchy system that divided the populace into 3 classes and 3 subclasses. The 2 classes were citizens and slaves. In addition, the citizens were divided into 2 subclasses. The higher class, which consists of elites and rulers, and the lower class, which consists of majority of the populace. At the top of the pyramid was the ruling class, which controlled most of the wealth and resources of the empire. The male members of the lower class served in the army, defending the empire and expanding its territory. The Draconian female class, on the other hand, was charged with administrative and policing duties. They were governors and bureaucrats who kept the empire running like a well-oiled machine. Nice. Alright, so just keep going. This is really cool. I hope you guys are getting a lot from this. Remember, only take what resonates for you, okay? Only a small group of women were recruited into the army, and they formed a small unit of elite soldiers. The elite unit of warriors, the SSS, was to be the unmarked, or the unmarking of the old Draconian society. Members of the Triple S weren't chosen at random. They were individuals that stood at the edge of the knife of evolution. Their skin was white and their mouth could pour forth flesh-melting acid. Oh my goodness. Let me read that again. Their skin was white and their mouth could pour forth flesh-melting acid. Wow. Truly dangerous on the battlefield. The Triple S was a special unit that the Empire used to carry powerful and deadly strikes. Therefore, when the Triple S turned their abilities upon the Empire's leadership, no Draconian could stand in their way. In a swift and coordinated attack, they killed all the elites, males, in the Empire and ended the reign of the ruling class. The reason for this coup is still unclear. Draconian society had carried on for eons despite its vast inequalities and limited representations. Some believe that the Triple S found the inequalities. Some believe that the Triple S found the inequalities unjust and felt that they had no business being dogs to master beneath them in an evolutionary race. Right. This is so amazing. That's why I found this article so interesting. I just knew you guys would get a lot from this. Alright, I'm gonna share another video, and it's gonna be something like this too. So the Triple S took over the Draconian government, sparking a new era in Draconian society. Rather than a class of elites, the Draco Orion Empire fell under the rule of 3 queens. These three queens were the leaders of the Triple S and the brains behind the dastardly coup. Wow. As soon as they took control of the empire, they ended the pointless wars and endless massacres. The days of relentless expansion campaigns were over. Their next order of business was to restructure society by implementing new policies that improved the lives of lower class citizens. Instead of focusing on military technology, the three queens invested in productive technology that increased the productivity capacity of the empire and reduced their reliance on slaves. Right. A new era was upon the Draco Orion Empire in a matter of decades. The standard of living of an average citizen was greatly improved, and slavery was all but abolished. After stabilizing the empire, securing peace, and providing prosperity, the three turned their focus to a slightly sinister goal. The queens ordered their scientists to develop two aging serums and alter their appearance to the more local Orion one. One of the serums was designed to extend life. Meanwhile, the second serum was designed to shorten it. Furthermore, the queens commissioned the creation and mass production of various clones of themselves. The clones and the serum took a while to perfect. However, when they were finally ready, the three queens set their plan in motion. Their goal was simple: live forever and maintain control of the empire. The queens kept the drug that extended life to themselves, extending their lives indefinitely. In the event that any of their organs failed, they had an army of clones available to supply new organs that matched perfectly to their system. The second serum was shared among the male population to shorten their lifespan. This ensured that the males didn't grow old and wise enough to start a rebellion. With their plan in full effect, the queens were virtually immortal, and in time the whole universe revered them as gods. They also focused on establishing more peaceful and mutually beneficial relations with other intelligent life forms in the galaxy. Under the female-led government, the Draconian Empire was now known as the Orion Empire and reached its peak of power and prosperity. They developed advanced technologies and significantly contributed to the galaxy's scientific and cultural advancements. From warning an empire hell-bent on wreaking havoc and conquering the universe, the Orions became a symbol of peace and stability. They mediated conflicts between various species and stood at the center of new age of peace and prosperity. Together with the Lyrans, Pleiadians, Octarians, and Andromedans, they created the Galactic Federation to make sure that the North species of the past eons would not ensue once more. Now, representing over 200,000 star systems and over 2,000 star constellations, of which we only have 88, or know of 88. However, despite their success, the three queens faced a lot of internal conflicts and challenges. The second serum worked to keep the men from growing old and powerful, but it didn't stop them from being aggressive and bloodthirsty. Descendants of members of the ruling class remembered the days of their forefathers. They believed it was their birthright to rule the Draco Orion Empire. Unhappy with female leadership and the perceived tyranny of the three queens, they sought to undermine the new government. Oh boy. Aside from the descendants of the ruling class, many factions within the Draconian society opposed the government policy of peace and non-aggressive. Even after civilization and evolution, the male Draconians still retain traces of aggressive bloodthirst, which used to be their long-forgotten ancestors, the Carians. Many Draconian men longed for war, expansion, and glory. Their thirst for destruction and conquest pushed them to rise against the three queens. However, despite multiple uprisings, none succeeded in overthrowing the immortal queens. Alright. Eventually, the rebels saw that the fertility of their attacks and recognized the unbridled might of the three queens. Rather than die in vain, the 13 royal families that led these male rebels, or these male rebel groups, deserted with their loyalties. They fled from the research of the queens, they fled from the reach of the queen and took refuge on Earth, a planet so far away from the center of the empire that the queens felt it was better to leave them. Arriving on Earth, they took over the planet and began to plan their return, determined to retake the empire they believed to be theirs. At the height of their power, the Orion Empire was a formidable and influential force in the galaxy. They controlled a vast and expansive empire, and were the technology, advanced and sophisticated civilization. Despite their formal, aggressive and warlike nature, the Orions also made significant contribution to technological and cultural development of the galaxy. They developed advanced technologies and system and governance, and they established a network of trade and communication. Wow, guys, that is what I wanted to share with you guys. All right, that was just amazing information from this article that I found, and I was reading through it. Oh my goodness, it was so good. And it's really awesome, you can learn all about this, right? Learn all this information, and you take from it what you resonate with, and whether you discern with it, you can discern it, resonate with it. All right, learn as much as you can. I mean, boy oh boy, it is good stuff to learn all this. There was some little bit of tongue twisters in there for me, and yeah, I hope I didn't butcher all of it, but I'm pretty sure you guys would have got it anyway, right? Alright, so that is it for now. But yeah, guys, please rock that like and subscribe and share for your girl. I would really appreciate that. And also check out the description box down below. Alright, there's 2 links in there. One to our home group or our chat group in Telegram, Galactic Jedi Soul Family, and also the other link to purchase your book. So get a copy today, guys. Alright, in the book of Ishmael's book of our cosmic origin, there's a lot of light code activations and blueprint activations, so please go grab the book. Also, I hope that you got a lot from all that information that I shared with you. It's amazing, it's really good info. So yeah, alright guys, that is all I have for you right now. Please rock the like and subscribe and share, and also don't forget to tap that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any other videos that are coming out. I love you guys, have an awesome day, and yeah, also one more thing, get out in nature guys. March is kind of like the month of just being magical. Alright, please go out in nature, ground, and allow all that beautiful energy to flow through. Okay, alright, take good care and have an awesome rest of your day. Alright guys, bye.